And if you're one of the branches of these armed forces, I would like you to stand when your song is played. Army.
Sitting right behind me from Austin, Minnesota, a good friend of mine. His name's Forrest Miller. Reverend Forrest Miller. He's chaplain Forrest Miller. He's been chaplain for many years. He's been in Washington, D.C. many times, and he's chief of police up in Mapleview. So if you're going to Mapleview, make sure you drive this man. Will you make him welcome? Forrest Miller.
When I walked in, Pastor said, you say a few words. You never say that to a minister, because when you don't have time to prepare, you know what they do. They ramble. Of course, these two ministers would never do that. 10 days ago, I was at the Law Enforcement Memorial in Washington, and the World War II Memorial, and the Vietnam Memorial. I spent a lot of time there, and I spent about 6 hours, 4.5 to 6 hours in Arlington, visiting some friends of mine. And if I could just say a couple of things. I could not see around Pastor, no message. But I didn't see, are there any first responders, firefighters, or law enforcement people here? One. We're honoring heroes. If I might share with you for just a minute, every day in this community, in the surrounding area, there are heroes that the pager goes off at 2:30 in the morning. I don't know, do you all still have a siren here? We still have a siren too. But we have pagers and we have really sophisticated 800 megahertz radios now. At 2:30 in the morning on a cold winter night, and you're in a warm bed, you are summoned to go to render aid in various capacities. Firefighters, the first responders, we call them in Minnesota, they're the ones that do the ambulance and the initial primary care to people in car accidents or heart attacks or whatever. And some nights that pager will go off 2 or 3 times and you might get an hour and a half sleep. And then of course you have to go to work to earn your living to support your family. Those are the real heroes. They're the ones that volunteer their time. They volunteer their time to respond to the need, but also to train and prepare themselves. So I would encourage you, if you know a first responder, an ambulance, volunteer ambulance crewman, fire department, is it volunteer fire? Is it volunteer? You're volunteer, because you know, I have worked with professionals all of my career, but I've also worked with volunteers all of my career. I'm not going to tell you how long that is, but the 1st of November will be 36 years. And I can truly say from the depths of my heart, I have never seen a commitment any stronger, a dedication any greater than the people who volunteer. Because as you go down the roles of those that give their lives, and a couple of years ago up in Minnesota, we had a couple of firemen give their life, volunteer firemen, battling on a single family house, trying to evacuate people. It happens, the ultimate. And the thing about heroes, and you've heard this before on television and on radio, and probably read it in a magazine. On 9/11, thousands of people were running from that catastrophe. The dust was billowing up, and yet going past them were the guys with the masks and the helmets and the breathing apparatus on, the guys in the police uniforms, the ambulance crews, the nurses that came from the hospital to give assistance were running to, some of them to their death. Yes, those are heroes. They are committed, they are dedicated. And so I would just like you to know from my heart, I've got a real dose of patriotism. I was able to be a tourist in Washington for the first time for 6 days. And I visited all of my favorite presidents' memorials and all of the war memorials I could get to. Hey, that World War II memorial is sharp. Has any of you been there? You been to the World War II? Good. It is a beautiful facility, and it's on the west end of the mall. I would encourage you to go take the kids. We need to start talking more about patriotism and valor and courage and dedication. Thank you so much. God bless you all.